And now going back to one of our leading stories this morning on the issue of land hearings, which is currently taking place and wrapping up across the country. For more on this, we are joined in studio by the national leader of GACCSA, Mr. Larry Varrie. A very good morning to Larry. Thank you so much for your time and for joining us on our program this morning here in Afro Worldview. Just to actually get the ball rolling and to start off our conversation this morning, let me quickly just get exactly your stand and stance as a GACCSA on where exactly you stand on the issue of land expropriation, specifically without compensation.
We are definitely for land expropriation without compensation. We think that the beneficiaries of colonization and apartheid had long enough time to rectify and to voluntarily give back the land or to negotiate. They have wasted all the time, another 25 years that they had. We've invited them to come and speak to us. And it looks like they have depended on other measures outside the country to stop expropriation without compensation. So we would say for the time that is left, if no one negotiates or voluntarily give back the land, then it must be taken. So until Parliament signs that law into existence, I think whoever benefited from the atrocities of apartheid and colonization should wake up.
And our land hearing summits have been taking place across, several provinces of the country, and we've seen that majority of the people of the country are actually for land expropriation without compensation. Now, in your overall attendance of some of these summits held across different provinces in Gauteng, in the Western Cape, and the Eastern Cape, and so forth, how would you describe the handling of the summit so far?
I think that the committee is by and large, done a good job. But I must mention that a number of the Khoisan people feel that they did not have enough space to speak and bring their views to the fore. And then also the media. There is a complaint regarding the media that we as GACCSA also have lodged a complaint with the GACCSA that the media is prejudiced against the Khoisan. They do not cover the Khoisan stories in the media. South Africa is not a black and white country. Or we know that the pre-1994 agreements was based on a zebra constitution and a zebra agreement, and which is called Rainbow South Africa. But without us, there is no rainbow because we are the rainbow.
And now you've mentioned that media has had, played quite a very faulty role with regards to covering some of these land hearing summits, especially the view of the Khoisan community. But perhaps just delve in a little bit more and just give us a little bit more information on how exactly do you think that the community has somewhat sidelined the Khoisan community from exactly giving them the proper platform, to be able to express their views? Have you perhaps approached the governing party and said, as a Khoisan community, this is the problems that we're dealing with, and we need to be able to express ourselves in this certain way?
The governing party itself is very careful of the Khoisan. And it's like they are prejudiced and they are preventing us from speaking to them. The governing party also prefers to speak to the puppets of the Khoisan. Now, the ANC-led government, or the ANC as a party, being a robust party, being the leader of the liberation struggle against apartheid, should not shy away to straight talks, because this is not about, we don't want favors from the ANC government. We want justice. And we want them around a table. And the media should expose the ANC and let them answer to us, who are the original owners of the land. We will not allow this parliament, with all its political elected representatives, to recolonize the Khoisan or its land. The Constitution by itself recognizes customary law It recognizes the Khoisan people's customary law, and our customary law includes Aboriginal title to land and a whole lot of other issues. Our laws are inalienable, our properties are inalienable. So we would like government to come and talk to us as the owner of the land and not take the same attitude of colonization and apartheid governments. We definitely want the government to come back to us.
Now, with the many propagating, views and various viewpoints from several people across the country, with actually some saying that if land expropriation without compensation actually does, seen as really pushed forward or, becomes adopted into the Constitution, it will have several effects to the economy and so forth. What do you have to say about that? And perhaps just your closing statements with regards to what exactly would you like to see achieved right at the end?
Look, number one, we would like to be a partner of the ANC government. We would like the ANC government to respect the fact that we have a 500-year struggle, and that struggle should be included in the Kliptown document. That is the biggest statement, right? Nelson Mandela acknowledged us as the first freedom fighters of this country. We want the ANC as a Nelson Mandela party to respect what he said. We abandoned the bullet for the ballot. And now the same people who has the ballot is using the ballot against us. We don't want to fight with the ANC. We have suffered together. We are saying to them, don't forget, we were in the UDF. Mitchell's Plain, which is the Soweto of the colored people, took the defiance campaign to the highest level. We have to be rewarded for what we have done in the struggle against apartheid. But our struggle is more than a struggle against apartheid. It is a struggle against the deeds, the atrocities of colonization. What I want to say is, we want the whole of Section 25 to be reviewed and to be changed in consultation with the Khoisan. We make special reference to subsection 7. Subsection 7 must be totally removed. There is no reason to have subsection 7 because it only provides protection for the beneficiaries of colonization, and it only entrenches the crimes and atrocities of colonization against the First Nation and against all the traditional leaders in this country. I need to say this. The people that were found here, the leadership structures that were found here by colonization, the Khoisan leaders and the traditional leaders of the black people, were found here. The ANC needs to come and sit down with the traditional leaders and us so that we can address the issue, the pre-colonization issue of how we were pushed off the table and a new form of government was established. Now we have a political appointed government, a political party appointed government. We don't see anything wrong with it. The only thing that we see is that there is no devolution of power. Parliament cannot, let me say, political parties cannot be the only licensed people to have political power. That political power in Parliament must be shared with the traditional people, leaders, and it must be shared with the Aboriginal leaders of this country. Now, what I need to say is, pre-1994, we were given a choice, and we respected Mandela, to exchange the bullet for the ballot. We want to express this. 2019, with the attitude of the last 25 years of the ANC-led government, is bringing us back to the choice of the bullet and the ballot. We do not want to see our people asking for secession of the country. But if it's the only option, then we will go for it. If this government does not respect us as the First Nation, we have 600,000 soldiers that are battle ready. But we don't want to fight with the people that we were with in the UDF. We want to have a peaceful conclusion. We are Africans, African in particular. We are as African as any other ANC leader is, and we therefore want to speak as Africans around the issue of the land. We want to say it emphatically, that the land called South Africa, with its colonized borders and its colonized parliament, all of the land in South Africa is the territory and the ownership of the Khoi and Bushman people. Government must come and speak to us.
Well,
Government
Mr.
must
Varrie,
also change.
yeah.
Government must also remove the colored identity and give us back our First
Mr.
Nation
Varrie,
identity.
I pretty much understand your sentiments and actually get exactly where you're coming from, and yours is very much clear. You want the Constitution to be reviewed and amended in consultation, of course, with all the people of South Africa, inclusive of the Khoisan as well. But thank you so much for your time.
I need to say one
and
more
for
thing.
joining us in our studios. Unfortunately, I cannot allow you to do that. I really do apologize.
Okay.
I really had hoped that we would perhaps be able to stretch our conversation a little bit further on. But thank you so much for your time. That was the national leader of GACCSA,
Thank you.
Mr. Larry Varrie, unpacking more details on the issue of land expropriation in the country, with their stance quite clear, calling for the review of the Constitution and, of course, the amendment of that Section 25 of the Constitution.